Hi, this is Jay Norris, author of Mastering the Currency Market. Welcome to the report. Before we get to the charts, I do need to point out that trading futures and Forex is a risky endeavor and not suitable for all investors. The charts we're going to be looking at are real-time market snapshots and may not be replicated going forward. First market we're looking at is the Australian US dollar. Big breakout to the downside here. You finally broke out of that pennant that you've been in for so long. I think you did some real technical damage here. I think this has very interesting implications for the dollar in the long run, potentially. I don't see a whole lot of downside for Aussie historically anyway. I think you'll find support on the way down, in the 95 handle for sure, I would think. It's interesting to me because I think going forward, Aussie will actually be one of the less weak currencies, but you're in a real funny place in the markets right now, and I'll explain that as we go forward with the yen. But I do think you're going to get a correction in this market. I think the 95 handle is looking more and more realistic. 95.37 or so is that monthly level. So I think you open up the door to that today. I think the recent fundamentals in the market, obviously the Japanese situation, but more important, I think the commodities topping probably do spell some dollar strength, and you'll see it as we move forward currency to currency. Right now, the currency markets, they're in a funny place. It's kind of hard to buy into these moves somewhat. We talked yesterday how you had a new 4-month high settlement in the euro just yesterday, and how, jokingly, if you like the yen, you love the euro. It's tough to make sense of these currency markets right now, but I think it is all going to make sense. I think what we're seeing in Japan will lead to dollar strength. But for now, you're in that topsy-turvy place where so many large speculators are caught in a position. They're caught the wrong way in the yen, and they're going to do everything they can to try to claw their way out of that, including exiting other positions. So you could see it. They're exiting long Aussie positions. They're exiting short euro positions. So you're in a kind of topsy-turvy place right now, but you have the potential for a little bubble here in that yen. And if that thing pops, I think if the speculators capitulate and they throw in the towel on those yen positions, eventually that will lead to dollar strength. And I believe that's showing up in the commodities also. And I think it showed up pretty well in the Australian dollar today. You don't quite see it so clearly in the euro because the euro is strong today. On the other hand, that could be short-lived. But you're in a topsy-turvy place. Things get real spooky right before and then during bubbles, and markets don't make a whole lot of sense to if you're new in many instances. But I think I'm starting to see through the fog here, and I think it's going to be dollar strength. We'll have to see. The next market we're going to cover is the pound US dollar. Pound dollar, it's been, you've seen both sides of the trade in here. Boy, it was down. The trade was downright scary today in London, the speed of that sell-off. But yet, prices recovered, and now you're actually back above that trend line. And that's one of those, it gets a little foggy here, but we're going to have to see how this plays out when, which way the speculators move in the yen if they capitulate on short yen positions. And I think that's going to play a lot into it. But we'll have to see. The pound recovered nicely in the U.S. session. Arguably, you're still higher. The weekly trend is still higher here, given that trend line in place. The daily's still down, though, so you're counter trend there. So the pound is, you're really not getting any more clear of a picture. And you probably won't until this little bubble gets pricked in the yen, and we'll get to that shortly. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD was one of the only green boxes on the quote board today. You did see some upside there, and I think I think overall you're going to see more dollar strength, not less, going forward. But the yen's going to have to play itself out. So, this you have to take a move like that seriously. That's a pretty big move. So dollar strengthening here, and against the other. Interestingly enough, it's strengthened considerably against the other commodity currency, the Aussie. So you're seeing Aussie you're seeing dollar strength against the Aussie and the CAD. And so I think that's where the fog is going to clear, and things are going to become a little bit easier to make out going forward. I'm going to show you a couple of commodities today also. Next market, the dollar chief first, though we have to cover the currencies and stock indices first. Here's dollar chief. You know, this one you could see some of that. You're seeing some of that bubbling action too. I was saying all along, I think, you know, you're in the process of big drawn out bottom here. You may be close to time-wise and price-wise to a bottom. Well, I think time-wise you're close to a bottom, but I think price-wise we couldn't anticipate the effects that the Japanese stance to the earthquake would have on the market. So I think this is one where the Swissie's probably going to bubble up too. I think here's another one where you've got a little bubble in the making here, and it's going to get more wild before it gets sorted out. So I could see some more downside for dollar chief. I could see some more upside on the chief, just as I could see some more upside for the yen. But I think these things are going to get more and more clear when the speculators, and there's a lot of them, all stripes, big and small, when they end up capitulating in this market, that is if you see a move below the 95 low at 80, and then you start getting the 79 handle, 78 handle, you're going to run a lot of those speculators out of there. They're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to come out of that. They either have to put up margin to maintain the position, exit the position, or sell more. In order to sell more, though, they're going to have more money. So I think this is a potential bubble that's going to have to burst, where yen prices go higher only because you know, a lot of speculators are trapped in there, and I don't think they're going to. Speculators in this case aren't going to win that battle. We'll have to see. Here's the U.S. stock market coming up next. Scary day on Wall Street, there's no doubt about it. You did manage to claw your way back. You closed in the upper half of the range today. Well, you're just hanging on, aren't you? It's going to be interesting. I think overall you will see more of a correction to this. I don't think we've seen the complete downside, but on the other hand, I don't think it's anything to panic about. I think it would be more along the lines of a more normal correction in the market. And we haven't seen a normal correction in this market in some time. And I say that because quantitative easing has had such an influence on it, and you don't know if a correction is a normal correction as things are getting worked out, or if a correction ends very quickly because of easy money. That quantitative easing has been the goal of quantitative easing, that the easy money quantitative easing has provided. So stock market, I think you're in the order for a more normal correction, if you could call it that, but it's going to stay ugly until that until the yen bubble pops. I was going to show you some commodities. This is Dr. Copper. Dr. Copper, it's been called Dr. Copper for many, many years because it's a good barometer of the health of the economy. When the economy's coming along, humming along, Dr. Copper's humming along also. A top in copper here would be indicative of a normal slowdown, and more indicative of, I think, of the state of commodities. I think the commodity, these big commodity bulls we've seen are starting to run their course. I say that because you're finally seeing a lower low here compared to this. This was a higher high to this. I'm sorry, this was a higher low compared to that low. This was a higher low compared to that low. Here, however, you see a lower low. Also and this is on a monthly basis. Also, that is a lower high. So you're seeing a lower high, lower low for copper. You haven't seen that in some time, both that lower low and lower high. So I think that may be very telling. And here's a very important commodity too, because we all we need to eat this, and we use it for a multitude of things. Also, corn. Here's the corn futures, and as soon as this updates, you're going to see it had a pretty sharp sell-off there. That's the monthly line. It's challenging. Now, granted, it's only mid-month, but you're down on the weekly, down on the daily. You're in a position to shift that monthly. And here's another one where, well, you don't have a higher low, but you're starting to see that's a lower low here. So commodities, I think commodities are telling us that you're probably in a position to see potential dollar strength. Let's go to the dollar index here. That's what the commodities are telling us. That's what the commodity currencies are telling us. On the other hand, the yen is really a wild card here. I think if you could see some serious, some more yen strength as speculators get blown out of those positions as they capitulate. So it's going to be, the waters are choppy right now. But I think once you blow that bubble in the yen, once so many of these long speculators, long dollar yen, short yen speculators, once they get run out of there, I think maybe that could be your bottom. But it's always very interesting. We'll be here to bring it to you. Hey, thank you very much. My name is Jay Norris. And also, don't forget to go to our blog at trading-u.com/blog, and sign up to win our $3,500 trading course, our scholarship. Hey, thank you very much, and we'll see everyone back here tomorrow.